Quilliam's work in counter-extremism is very, very important. Whether it's far-right extremism, white supremacism, or Islamist extremism, part and parcel of their counter-extremism work is exposing the fallacies of radical Islamist ideology. Throughout kind of Quranic studies, people have tried to categorize and group the verses of the Quran in different ways, by date, by theme. I've also offered a categorization of the verses. So there are verses that I call the God verses. These are the verses that describe God, usually through his names. And these give us the key pivotal values in the Quran. Al-Hayy, the living. God is the living. This implies sanctity of all life. God designates himself as As-Salam, peace, not just the one who is peaceful, but peace itself. Therefore, any violation of peace is a violation of this divine quality. Another name, Al-Wadud, the loving, the devoted. Al-Latif, the gentle, the kind. Al-Adl, justice. God is justice. So for me, when people talk about a system of rule that is promoting one interpretation of one religion over and above all other religions and customs, and when they call that system a theocracy, I say, no, that's a misnomer. Such a system is more accurately to be called a religiocracy. If a system is going to be a theocracy, and if a theocracy is when God is foremost, it has to be aligned with the divine qualities. So I think we Muslims have to be very honest about where we're finding God and where he's not. I think it helps when somebody can come in and say, look, understand God. God should be the key and governing factor in religion, and when he is not, you should know that there is something very, very wrong there. I mean, if we look at what ISIS and ISIL are doing, they are violating God's names left, right, and center. It is an ontological blasphemy, what they are engaged in. But because they use certain select verses of the Quran and use them for their own purposes, and because there isn't this concept of a hierarchy within the Quranic verses, they get away with it. I think people have within them the capacity to discern what is right from wrong, and I'm basically paraphrasing a Quranic verse here. And yes, I think with a little bit of help and a little bit of guidance and understanding and study on their own, and intellectual and spiritual honesty, I think people will see for themselves. I think the majority of people do. They may not articulate it this way, but they have that sense. They have that sense that this isn't right, this isn't what MyIslam is about. You get that kind of response. And the amount of times when I've said something like this to a practicing Muslim who is perhaps a lawyer or a professional and therefore not in theological studies, and they say, yes, that's exactly what I feel. So it kind of evokes something that is innate within us, the fitra, if you want to use the Muslim term. It's not even the counter-narrative, it's the original narrative. That's what I would say.